This is Sybert signing into 0 Hour on the map, aka Magic, for game number 1 of this best of 11 here in round 2 of the 2025 0 Hour World Series. In the north, this is the coldest hot thing you've ever heard of. This is the FrostyFire truck. He's playing China Vanilla, and in the south, rocking the GLA demo. This is DrUncle. He is not Dr. Pepper, and he's also not Dr. Thrax, but, he's DrUncle. And once again, if you did miss my first World Series video, I'm not super familiar with these folks playing in 0 Hour these days. It's been a while since I've seen a lot of competitive 0 Hour so far. FrostyFire truck and DrUncle. No idea, what the history is between these guys, how well they've been doing. But this series was recommended to me by ExiLe, and ExiLe is also the guy who customized the 0 Hour UI so that it looks very nice and is branded for me. So a huge thanks to ExiLe, not only for recommending this series, apparently he heard it's a banger, so that's good enough for me. I'm here to check it out. But again, I have no idea who these folks are. It is a best of 11, so we will get a guaranteed 6 games, and it will be a guaranteed terrorist blowing up that oil derrick. Double terrorist blowing up the oil derrick? Yep, I guess so. He's going to get both of them, and for now, the Red Guard do manage to escape. So the technical goes out, knocks down both of the oil derricks on the China side of the map. Helix is out. And one thing that I did sort of realize looking at some of these community maps in the first video of the World Series that I did is a lot of these community maps just have a ton of neutral structures. So in this case, there is 6, it looks like 6 oil derricks total in this map, plus artillery platforms as well. Helix does end up going down, so DrUncle does manage to get that kill. Loses the technical, but does have a worker heading out now. Going to be adding a fresh tunnel network into the corner there. Artillery platform in the north going to get grabbed. Oh, and there's also oil refineries. So there are just a ton of neutral structures on these community-made maps. And lovely river splitting the map in half. Hopefully that's not an omen that this map will get split in half and these guys will fall down a hole of just war of attrition, which can happen sometimes in 0 Hour. You get these extraordinarily long 1v1 sometimes, but I feel like that's happened a lot less now that people don't play Tournament Desert all the time, now that that isn't the only map being played, where that map's split in half really easily. But I feel like a lot of these community-made maps, they do manage to avoid that, or maybe it's just players have more active play styles and they know how to deal with other things that their opponent is doing to stalemate the game. So maybe the players are just better and it has nothing to do with map design. But in this case, Flamer is going to be moving forward. The Dragon tank will try to start a firewall across the river. Looks like the quad cannons are mostly out of range. One of the RPG troopers does end up going down there. Double Helix making their way across. They do tag one of those tunnel networks, so they actually shut down that northern tunnel network, and they might be able to push on forward. There are some traps set for this China player. One thing about being the demo general is you do get all of those extra little explosions all over the game, and that is something that the China player has to be very worried about. And by the way, if you are, this is your first time seeing me cast 0 Hour in a while, the overlay at the bottom is the BattleScry overlay, coded up by Doublevil, designed by Drive. And a huge thank you to Doublevil for his work in getting it ready for the 2025 World Series. He basically had never opened 0 Hour before, and so he managed to port over the BattleScry system, make it work with 0 Hour, and did it extremely quickly and in time for me to be able to cast some of these 0 Hour games. So huge thanks to Doublevil for the creation of the BattleScry overlay system. It has made it possible for me to commentate games and not spend all of my time editing graphics in after the fact. Technical gets shut down. All of the troopers go down as well. No RPG drop for the GLA player. Oil refinery taken on the right side of the map, not taken on the left side of the map so far. DrUncle has not captured that structure just yet. Dragon Tank will be able to shut down this Civ structure. Might catch a couple of these quads as well. We'll see how fast the firewall goes up, and nope. Dragons just die, and instead of roaring to life, they just fizzle out. But the building did get cleared, so now the helixes can show up. They're actually just going to tag the building and knock it down. They're not going to go for the tunnel network. It's a 2-for-1 as that tunnel network was placed in just the right spot for that building to crash down upon it. And this is a dead dozer. So if you're not familiar with the BattleScry overlay system, or if you're thinking of it from Kane's Wrath and Red Alert 3, what would normally be the harvester count, which is down over here, excuse me, the harvester count down there, that's actually the dozer or the builder count. So obviously for GLA factions, it's going to be a pretty high number, but for USA and China factions, it's going to be a pretty low number. So FrostyFire Truck, he is down to just one dozer. If he loses that dozer, then he might be in a bit of a bad spot. Although, you know, sometimes losing your dozer doesn't actually matter if you've got all of your infrastructure already built up and you're in a good enough position that expansions aren't key. Quads pop out. Another Dragon Tank or two down, and this position might slowly get choked out. I feel like DrUncle is just getting slowly choked out of these different parts of the map. Helixes are going to try and show up and pop down that tunnel network after the fact, allow the Dragon Tanks to move a little bit further forward. Meanwhile, in the top left-hand corner of the map, a supply stash is established here for the GLA player. He's got a fresh expansion, and ooh, it's not Purifying Flame, but it is Purple Walls of Fire. The Black Napalm is now out on the field for the China player. MiGs as well. MiGs coming out. No Firestorm ignited, but helixes will move in. A lot of the quads going down. One helix down, two helixes down. They're just camping out on top of these quads. They're committing into the fight. They were not trying to run away, and they do end up winning. Two helixes extremely low on health. Those propaganda towers keeping them active, keeping them moving, and this entire section of the map shut down hard now by FrostyFire Truck. He has managed to clear out the GLA incursion from the southeast corner. Meanwhile, the northwest corner, where this beautiful river does come from, is looking good for the GLA. Palace is up. Not all of the upgrades have come through just yet. Some of these supply stashes being sold off by the GLA player. And oil derricks haven't been cleaned up. Is there Red Guard? Okay, no, it's a Black Lotus heading down to capture them. So Black Lotus will turn those neutral structures over to the side of the Chinese. And it looks like a command post, a command center is coming up as well for FrostyFire Truck. He does also have this artillery platform from a long time ago, so he will have a bit of an early warning system if the GLA tries to cross the map there. Worker moving out, a fresh tunnel network could be emerging relatively soon. If DrUncle is paying attention, he will know the position of the Black Lotus. He can assume that the Black Lotus is out. I mean, we are nearly 10 minutes into the game, so why would a Black Lotus not be out at this point? Jarman Kell does not get spotted. I think he might have gotten revealed for a second there, but the helixes did not take note, and they will, for the current moment, just fight against these tunnel networks. So Jarman Kell may try to trap Black Lotus there. We'll see if FrostyFire ends up taking any damage. For now, Dragon Tanks, one of them may end up getting sniped. Jarman Kell trying to avoid those helixes, and he does. Black Lotus will be able to take over those oil rigs. Oil derricks on the side now of China, no longer under the control of GLA. Triple tunnel network, 6 tunnel networks plus 2 Stinger sites as well. Meanwhile, helixes moving out, artillery barrage fires off in the background, and it looks like a whole slew of one-clicks coming in across the map for the China player. We'll see if he's able to bust open this position. The artillery strike will land possibly right on the supply stash. And Carpet Bomb coming in at the same time to help deal with these tunnel networks. Helixes not going to totally shut everything down. The artillery platform already burned down to the ground. And the Dragon Tank walking into the main base of DrUncle will get shut down. Will do a little bit of damage, but not much. And Dragon Tank plus Black Lotus, they've captured this artillery platform, but not much more than that. And no big attack from FrostyFire Truck. He moved in with the helixes. He almost followed up those one clicks with an attack, but he didn't actually manage to do anything. 2K per minute for FrostyFire Truck versus the 4.4K per minute of income for DrUncle. DrUncle held those oil derricks for a long time, and he also has held some of these extra expansions as well, with these supplies being under his control for most of the game, leading him to a 23K income advantage. Dragon gets sniped, and Jarman Cal possibly going to plant some bombs. And no, Black Lotus actually takes over that Dragon Tank and just going to force the terrorists to suicide, and that's a dead dozer as well. FrostyFire Truck does have the command center up there, so it is not the end of the world. And meanwhile, the Dragon Tank's trying to shut down this area. Helixes will be moving into position, turning this no-go zone into a dead zone. If these tunnel networks get shut down, then the supply stashes can follow. Battle Bus moving out. Does get spotted by that Dragon Tank, and the Battle Bus, I think, will just knock down this oil derrick, and that is the end of those neutral structures in the corner. Dragon Tanks leapfrogging their way forward. Their firewalls will keep the GLA units back, but not the ones that come from behind. Motorbikes crossing over, and the quads pop out of the wrong tunnel network for just a moment there. DrUncle finds the backdoor attack to shut down this China army. The offense won't work quite as well as FrostyFire Truck had hoped. Tunnel network, not quite enough to stop a Carpet Bomb. First tunnel network down. Battle Bus is here, though, and it does get tagged by the helixes. One helix goes down. Battle Bus going to hold its ground now as a battle bunker as the dozer backs up as well. FrostyFire Truck, he's officially hit 0K per minute. So he doesn't have any hackers out on the field. He doesn't have any supplies under his control. He doesn't have any oil derricks either. Double black market? Yeah, that just might be it. FrostyFire Truck has kind of got to make it work with what he's got out on the field right now. I don't know if he could potentially sell some stuff off to get a couple of more units, but it might not even be worth it at this point. He is going to be fighting from a very slim place for the rest of the game. And I guess he does have one dozer. He does have the opportunity to go for engineers, so hope springs eternal for FrostyFire Truck. But DrUncle is looking in a pretty good shape for this game. I mentioned this in my first video about the Zero Hour World Series, but if you're not familiar with the format of Zero Hour GG comes out there as DrUncle gets game number one. If you're not familiar with the competitive format of a lot of tournaments, they do something called random reverse, and that will take us into game number two, where you will see what it means. And it means that we are sticking with this map, aka Magic, and you'll notice that almost everything else about the game is the same, except the players have swapped places. So now DrUncle is the Vanilla China in the north, and FrostyFire Truck is the GLA demo in the south. And yep, that is random reverse. If you are unfamiliar with Zero Hour Competitive, it is a way of dealing with the many matchup and faction imbalances in the Zero Hour subfaction system. So there are 12 total faction options. I guess 13 if you count random, but there's 12 total faction options between the three core factions plus their subfactions. And many of the matchups are just functionally unplayable. So the way that the games are lined up is one of the players chooses a map, and then they both will play random. Whatever the matchup is in the beginning, players can veto it. If they end up in an especially bad matchup, they can veto it and go again for a different random roll on the matchup. But as long as both players agree to the matchup, then they play out the game, and then they play the reverse of that matchup on the same map in game number 2. So you will see this pretty much all throughout the tournament. If we do end up getting out to ace matches, the ace matches have preset maps and preset matchups depending on the round that they happen in. Terrorist comes out, blows up that oil derrick. Things are looking very similar to game number 1, which I guess would bode well for FrostyFire Truck if he's able to kill off this dozer, and then if he's able to win the game. I don't know what those terrorists are doing. They end up just falling to the helix, so that's a dead technical and that's dead terrorists. They got the oil derrick, so at the very least they've got that, but not sure that they're going to get much more than that. Worker dodges, and the quad pop just in time. The supply truck shows up, but the helix is too powerful. Gets kills on almost everything, and the helix does go down. Everything inside of it does die as well. And that helix doing massive damage, but those RPG troopers that spawn in when the tunnel network completes, helping to win that fight for the GLA. Another oil derrick getting targeted down there. 2 dozers out on the map for DrUncle. So he does have both of those original 2 dozers. He doesn't have a third safety dozer or anything like that. And Helix is going to show back up. They're going to try and tag this tunnel network, but it does survive. The little bit of healing coming in from the worker there does mean that it stays online. And these weakened oil derricks around the base, I guess they're just determined to not be worth capturing, or not. It's not worth rushing to try and capture them. You just go for the other oil derricks that are a little bit further out. Helixes going to target this base in the north. The RPG troopers are a little bit too far away, so the tunnel network in the south will go down, and the Helixes might have an opportunity to shut down the next tunnel network as well. Oil derricks will be captured once again by the GLA player. They're just so much more mobile out on the map, and quads could pop out. This building is also captured, so a civ structure with a couple of RPG troopers in it, plus the quads, makes this a difficult place for the helixes to bust open. We'll see if FrostyFire Truck is able to catch them. Helixes move in. They are going to target down that tunnel network, and the quads don't pop out, so the tunnel network will go down, and the civ structure will fall as well. Oh, he doesn't totally kill it, so it is still standing. Is he going to knock it down? Oh, come on, knock it down. Give us the show. Give us the show, DrUncle. No luck. Leaves it standing maybe for... hopefully that's foreshadowing for things yet to come. As the helix is moving out across the map, DrUncle will close in on this corner of the map. And if he can win both sides of this matchup here on AKA Magic, that is always a great statement, especially to start out a long series like a best of 11. That's a lot of quad cannons. That's going to be 1 dead helix for sure. The other 2 helixes are going to take a lot of damage. Good split on the quads means all 3 helixes go down. That's a lot of dead China units, and that's a GG as DrUncle has been defeated. And as FrostyFire Truck puts a point on the board with GLA, I want to let you know that this video is powered by Silver Knight PCs, a veteran-owned custom PC shop out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Over the years, they've built a ton of super customized PCs, some of them with custom graphics and full tower wraps. You can bring your favorite game out of your PC and into your room. They can also theme or color match the PC components to your build. With this For the Horde build, they used a GPU that had metal rails and red accents to match the rest of the PC. So if you're looking for a custom-built PC for the holidays, head over to silverknightpcs.com and check out the Custom Build PC tab. This form allows you to specify a ton of preferences, not just a budget slider. And you can also tell them your primary use case for your computer. So So if you want a blacked out workstation, they've got you covered. If you only play certain types of games, they can adjust the build to match your use case. So big thanks to Silver Knight PCs for supporting my channel, and you can find the link to their website in the description and in the pinned comment. And that takes us to the incredibly picturesque center of Thermopoly for game number 2. This is a best of 11, so the first 2 games don't really set the tone, but this is going to be a very fun random reverse, because in the north, playing the GLA Stealth, this is FrostyFire. And in the south, against the fire truck, is the GLA Stealth DrUncle. It's always funny that they still keep the random reverse rule, but, you know, it's one of those things. You keep the random reverse rule even when it's a mirror matchup like this. And again, because players can veto matchups, because players can agree on matchups, they could have both been comfortable playing GLA Stealth, and so they were like, you know what, let's do a Stealth mirror. We'll that'll decide our game 3 and 4, and we'll, you know, do Thermopoly. Which, by the way, for the first couple of maps, whoever chose map 1, the opposite player chooses map 2. So if DrUncle chose the previous map, Tunnel Network gets slowed down there, then FrostyFire Truck got to choose map number 2, which is, of course, games 3 and 4. Oil derricks here in the middle of the map. Lovely little fountains also there in the middle. Technical take quite a lot of damage from that Tunnel Network. Next Tunnel Network is going to be barely a little bit too late, but it will finish up while this Technical is roaming around this position. And the Technical will get at least 2 of the workers crushed there. Get caught on exit. Terrorist does not manage to blow up on anything. This is Fire Truck's terrorist, right? Yeah, that is Fire Truck's terrorist. He hasn't detonated on anything. Another terrorist does end up going down, and Oil Derrick's starting to be captured. Is he going to swing around and, like, blow up these workers? I'm not exactly sure what that terrorist is doing, hanging out there. Tunnel Network on the left side for FrostyFire Truck. Meanwhile, back around the north side, there is a Technical just waiting for an opening, and the terrorist does end up going down. So back on the north side, DrUncle, he still has a... I don't know if he has a couple of RPG troopers or what inside of this Technical. Either way, he could potentially bust down some of these decoy buildings. They have not been converted to real buildings yet. So we'll see if he ends up doing anything there. But FrostyFire Truck now going to knock down that oil derrick, and the rebel who captured it just stands by and lets it happen. More Tunnel Networks coming up. Stealth versus stealth for these 2 factions. And, you know, I don't know what's going to really change in the second game. So if one player is just absolutely dominant, I'm not sure how things are going to turn around for the other player. Hijacker gets denied there. Almost stole that Technical, but didn't manage to actually get inside. And now FrostyFire Truck, he is just crushing this part of the base. Another quad cannon does show up. Workers are going to try and run away. And something was just taken over there. And a supply stash coming in here for FrostyFire Truck. He's just trying to take over the base of DrUncle. And there goes a hijacker right past everybody, looking for the quad. Will manage to grab it, steals the quad right from out from under him. And now the RPG troopers get lit up as well. And FrostyFire Truck loses the attack just as quickly as it began. It is now turned around. The worker gets killed off by that rebel from earlier. And that oil derrick ended up being a bit of a safe place for that rebel to then come back and kill the worker. The Heidi rebel of the stealth general, and that hijacker turning the fight for DrUncle, managing to get right past it. Like ships in the night, stealth rebels passing each other in the middle of the map. Worker getting slowly hunted. Man, that's almost cheating, playing the blue color inside of that fountain like that. Is that the dead worker? Yes, it is. Okay, so the supply stash will not really start construction. does get denied there. Tunnel network's coming up. This is a lot of quads. No hijackers necessarily right here on the front line, but there's going to be the return fire of DrUncle. He is ready to go with his own quads. Back into the tunnel network they both go. The supply stash got stopped. Both of the workers got killed off for those tunnel networks. So everything has been paused in that location. Quads could pop out. A little bit too late now with the RPG troopers on top of that tunnel network. Oil derrick should be the next target as well. FrostyFire truck will lose both of those things in short succession. Meanwhile, on the high ground, that supply stash goes unnoticed. In the south, quads moving forward, and that hijacker grabs another quad very successfully there. Barracks really needs to be dealt with because these hijackers cause such problems for FrostyFire truck. Or maybe he needs to get a few hijackers of his own. Tunnel network will eventually get shut down there, and the pure quad firepower of FrostyFire truck will break through the southern expansion. And these double tunnel networks still haven't been canceled by DrUncle. He's hoping to get back around to finishing their construction at some point in the future. It may be halfway done, and he may have been living there for 6 years, but he's going to get around to finishing it any day now. Quad cannons going to be facing off versus each other. Saber rattling on the front line as FrostyFire truck moves forward. Maybe he hopes he can find the critical angle. One quad cannon going down. The scrap upgrade going to be benefiting FrostyFire truck. A couple of RPG troopers directly into the building. The perfect stronghold for DrUncle on that high ground. And FrostyFire truck, for the most part, feels like he is taking over more and more of the map. I'm not sure what is under construction there. Okay, it looks like a trap is going to be set up. Supply stash once again getting jumped on. Upgraded quad ends up going down. Scrap gets grabbed by DrUncle. The income of FrostyFire truck, not quite double that of his opponent, but he has been up quite a bit on economy. Denying these two supply stashes in the south were quite key. And, well, that's a toxin tractor that just showed up just about out of nowhere. He should be able to clear out the building. No, he actually turns his attention on the quads. He should have cleared out that building, and that would have been the easy thing to do. Okay, I think he does know that there's buildings there, but he can't see them. He doesn't have any kind of stealth reveal, and they're not being canceled, so he's just running into them. They're causing him movement problems, but he's not quite able to do anything about it. Worker on the move. And, well, that's annoying. Battle bus now out on the map, and quads back into the tunnel network as well. Okay, now they finally do end up getting canceled, and there's going to be the tunnel network for the stealth reveal anyways. Hijackers around the middle of the map. A couple of them positioned, waiting for those quads to pass through. And as we saw with one of those earlier engagements, if you grab the right unit at the right time, that can allow your units, even if you have an inferior force, to engage successfully with your opponent. Battle bus helping to lead the charge here as the worker gets shut down. And, well, that's one snipe as the battle bus gets emptied of units. DrUncle gets shot up, and the hijacker comes to the front line. FrostyFire truck looking to win the mirror matchup, but it's not done just yet. Battle bunkers now deployed onto the front line as FrostyFire truck, he steps onto the low ground. DrUncle snipes him, and now he's forced to turn around. Scrap getting picked up there by DrUncle. And FrostyFire truck, he's had the income advantage. He's taken over his opponent's original main base. But this little section of 3 or 4 bases put together, 3 or 4 expansions put together, is going to be difficult for FrostyFire truck to bust open. And FrostyFire truck down half the army value of his opponent. So he's got lots of income, but he doesn't have an army to actually do anything with it. And now is probably the time for DrUncle to try and push his advantage, although 2 rocket buggies out on the map. They just got their upgraded ammo, and they, well, have also now turned sides as well. So one of the rocket buggies changes sides, and the other one does as well. 2 hijackers put to good use there by DrUncle, who's still up 7k in terms of army value against his opponent. Black markets being added into the mix for, I assume, both players, although there's not a lot of build radius for DrUncle. He does have 1 black market that is a current decoy black market. I assume it's in the process of transitioning over, and then maybe he'll get some other ones. But as the game goes on, the income could dwindle quite quickly for DrUncle as his supplies run out. Although there in the middle of the map, he's got a decent amount. He doesn't have a ton of workers actually harvesting. He is not at full saturation on these workers. And as long as you move quickly and hit fast, well, you can avoid the hijackers for the current moment. Bonus buggy ammo for FrostyFire truck. No AP rockets or the junk repair upgrade. What is that, scrap repair upgrade? I don't actually remember what it's called, but he's got the extra buggy ammo, and that matters most of all. Quad, gonna tag this toxin tractor, and well, good night to the toxin tractor. Always nice to see a good toxin tractor out on the map, but you know, doesn't last long, it seems. Jarmankel finds another snipe, another dead buggy on the FrostyFire truck side. 2 dead buggies, I guess 4 if you count the 2 that he stole with hijackers. DrUncle doing very good on the economy of rocket buggies. Not necessarily doing good with the real economy, but he's certainly caught up to his opponent. But those rocket buggy economy, that's what really matters sometimes. Who's got the better artillery units can be the decider if you go late enough into the game. FrostyFire truck adding some more tunnel networks on in the north, adds a scud storm as well. And rocket buggy's gonna try and shut down the tunnel network of his opponent. Doesn't quite get the hole as well. But this, of course, does reveal to DrUncle that FrostyFire truck has something going on there. There's going to be the beacon on top of the Scud Storm command hub, command center also being added on, so the return of 1-clicks will happen very soon for these 2 players. At least FrostyFire truck will be getting his command center out onto the field, and scrap upgrades for the battle bus before he hops into the building. Nice pop over onto the left side for these rocket buggies. They find the angle on this army and manage to clean up a couple of rockets of DrUncle, but this building will be broken. These tunnel networks will get cracked, and this is going to be 2 dead rocket buggies. No, 1 manages to escape, barely, right on the edge of the range of the rocket buggies of DrUncle. And nicely done there by FrostyFire truck. Manages to escape with just a bit of health. This middle of the map, right around the fountains of Thermopoly, has been absolutely critical here for DrUncle. That has fueled his entire late game economy in this match. Another Scud Storm being added in for FrostyFire truck. DrUncle actually dwarfing the income per minute of FrostyFire truck. FrostyFire truck still has the superior total income, total resources gathered, but he does have more income per minute for the current moment. Both players sitting on 4- and 3-star general ratings, respectively, and a decent amount in the bank. 1-click's going to be coming online for at least FrostyFire truck now that the command center is up and operational. These buildings really need to be busted open by FrostyFire truck. He's built a couple of toxin tractors, but he hasn't been able to use them to actually clear out a lot of these buildings. Quad cannon going to be leading the charge, shuts down a couple of those RPG troopers, and the rocket buggies should be able to clean out these other tunnel networks. This front line will be pushed back just a little bit here. As well, that battle bus will be getting shut down, gets turned into a bunker, and then it will end up going down to the tunnel network. there. The little gunfire of the tunnel network is enough. And there's the stealth as the RPG, as the rockets, buggies will manage to escape. And that's 3 dead quads as well for FrostyFire Truck, who has rebuilt his army considerably compared to that of DrUncle. Double Scud Storm, but one hasn't even started construction and the other one is nearly done, so their timers will be split quite a bit. But less than 2 minutes on the first Scud of FrostyFire Truck. DrUncle does have that timer to worry about. 2-3 black markets there for DrUncle. FrostyFire Truck, well, he's going to be competing with infinite income from DrUncle, but FrostyFire Truck sort of has infinite rockets as more of these Scud Storms come online. It doesn't matter if you've got a bunch of cash, if the other guy has a bunch of rockets that can just break down your entire base, destroy your defenses on the front line, and open the door for those GLA units painted in orange to knock down the rest of the base. Once the first angle gets opened up, sometimes that's enough for the rest of the army to get in and do that critical damage to your opponent. Rocket buggies circling around. Man, this low ground tunnel network has been absolutely critical for DrUncle. So many units have managed to escape into there or pop out of there to counter-attack whatever FrostyFire Truck is doing. And now finally it will be shut down, perhaps for good. Nope, the hole does remain. Do we have Molotov cocktails? I guess we don't have AK-47s for everybody, but we might have some Molotov cocktails for this angry mob. They are just running at them straight, and there we go. That's a dead hole. Stealth driver heading in, and that's a 1 bomb set. Rocket buggies turning around. That's one way to do it. Just drive right up. I thought for sure the tunnel networks were going to get him just in time, but no. He managed to make it all the way over. And, well, there's going to be one dead supply stash. If you were hoping for those Scud Storms to fire off, you've got a little bit longer to wait. Sorry to say. And the mob gets cleaned up. Goodbye to that mob. Just cleaned out by these quads. That fully heroic quad takes a ton of damage, but cleans out the second mob as well. Now, second Scud online for DrUncle. With that reset, he has kind of evened things out and reset the clocks to be a little bit more in his favor, even though he is down on Scud Storms. 11K in the bank, sitting on a pretty massive wad of cash. DrUncle has a tight control over this section of the map, and once again, oh, not gonna work this time. No reset on the Scuds. Rocket buggies moving around. DrUncle hoping to disrupt those super weapons of his opponent. And I mean, it sort of worked. DrUncle gonna clear out some of this mob. Tunnel network pops. Rocket buggies will return fire. Big damage on both sides, and now the building has been taken, but it'll get busted open almost as quickly as it is garrisoned. It is evacuated by the GLA of FrostyFire Truck. FrostyFire Truck trying to surround everything of his opponent, and well, those tunnel networks able to deal with the workers trying to close in on those supplies. DrUncle just ends up going down, so goodbye to DrUncle's DrUncle. Less than a minute on the clock for the Scud Storm. Mob on the front line. Molotov cocktails helping to burn down some of these workers. I guess you don't need 21 necessarily this late in the game. DrUncle swinging around. He's managed to hold on to this section of the map very well, but he has not ever managed to step outside of it. He has been on the defensive pretty much this entire time, and now the first Scud Storm ready to go. Only a couple of seconds left as DrUncle steps outside of his base. Scud Storm ready to fire off, and there it goes. Missiles will launch, and they will land on top of the army, hoping to shut down the middle of the map. He does catch some of DrUncle's units, but most of them do manage to escape. The army value still in DrUncle's favor by a decent amount. FrostyFire Truck has a lot more buildings spread around the map, but he doesn't necessarily have as much of an army. We'll see if defense ends up winning the day. Battle Bus leading the fight, and the quad cannons behind that, and that's a lot of rockets incoming as the Battle Bus gets on top of the rockets, and it's going to be an anthrax bomb coming in over the top of the army. Run, run, run if you can, and everything gets caught, but not everything gets killed. Two more quads right on the edge of range there, and turn around DrUncle. That is not the doctor that you want to go see. That is Dr. Thrax, and that's another dead quad. The anthrax bomb will be returned. The favor will be matched equally by the GLA on the other side. Radar vans will end up going down because of it. And that's going to be a... Oh, that's not. Those aren't demo rebels, so you can't just blow up the sneak attack tunnel out of nowhere. But it will get shut down. The black market doesn't actually end up going down. He does have the building upgrade as well, so they are tougher to kill. And Scud Storms, two of them are ready to go on both sides of the map. They are going to crash down on top of each other. Right as one launches, the other one goes out as well. The low ground has been laid waste by the Scuds of FrostyFire Truck. And it is still 25k of army versus 15k or 16k of army. It's both players fighting it out in the extended battle here on Thermopoly. RPG troopers in a building, still just a good defense for both players. War Factory gonna get busted down. And another Scud Storm lands here directly on the production of FrostyFire Truck. DrUncle is moving in, and he's hoping to shut down the palace. He's hoping to shut down the production of FrostyFire Truck, and he's hoping to go up 2-1 in this series. Rocket buggies are difficult to deal with, but so are those toxins on the ground. Tunnel network going to get shut down. Production getting camped. Battle Bus moves forward. FrostyFire Truck manages to hold it back for now. And another radar van directly into the guns of DrUncle. FrostyFire Truck, he may have had pretty much the whole map up to this point, but he doesn't have the whole map now, and driving right through the toxins. DrUncle doesn't care. His brother, Dr. Thrax, may have been providing those toxins, and he gives not a care in the world. And this Scud Storm, the first one ever built in this game, will now be targeted and shut down. Goodbye to that Scud Storm, and the toxins will pollute the ground upon which it used to stand. 50 seconds until the next Scud, but how do you stop this army? Well, I guess if you could Scud it, then that would stop the army, but this army is almost on a suicide mission to stop FrostyFire Truck from being able to do anything before this Scud fires off. FrostyFire Truck needs to be killed off so that DrUncle doesn't have to deal with it, and he will be able to target down the Scud. Who cares about resetting the timer when you can just reset the building? As there goes the toxins, There goes the Scud Storm. Rocket buggies pushing forward. Sneak attack tunnel just to block off the attack path of that crypt. No free firing for those RPG troopers. Quad cannon's going to be pushing forward, and DrUncle turning this game around, fighting from his little hole in the ground and bringing the fight to FrostyFire, who for a time had such an income and space advantage, but was not able to win the game with it. Massive, massive reset for both players. DrUncle still has the winning army composition, which is more units. 20k of units versus the basically 5k of FrostyFire. But as I said, FrostyFire has a lot more buildings, so it is going to take a while for DrUncle to get through all of these structures, and that will buy a little bit more time for FrostyFire to build what forces he can. 200k of total resources gathered versus 208k of total resources gathered for these two players. Tunnel networks going down, quads v quads. Both of the armies have been basically reset, and this is just the forces that they can muster rebuilding. As DrUncle, he just needs to close in with his forces, even with scuds, even with stinger sites, with tunnel networks, buying time. It's still just an army value gap between these two players. This is going to be more dead quads. The quads of DrUncle aren't invincible, and that stinger site got some good shots off as well. But at the end, it's still 21k of army versus 8.5k of army. So as long as DrUncle doesn't absolutely throw everything away, he will be able to rebuild a lot more quickly than his opponent. There's going to be the fire sale. All of those black markets do leave the game, and 7 grand gets added to the bank account of FrostyFire. More quads moving in. Scrap upgrades don't matter if you're up against 5 buggies. And I mean, hey, if FrostyFire is able to make it happen with like 5 heroic buggies, that would be absolutely incredible. He does have tunnel networks down in the south, a good number of them. There's a command center coming up as well. Anthrax on top of the barracks and the war factory here for FrostyFire, so no more units will really be produced. Anything that does get produced will just get destroyed. And what in the world? That's a crazy feature. Whoa. That's amazing. That's incredible that you can terraform the map like that. What was that? That's insane. You can do that? This is like a 40-year-old game. This game came out in like 2002 or 2003. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. That's absolutely amazing. Every 0-hour map should have that. Okay, maybe not every 0-hour map. That's amazing. I mean, in this case, DrUncle, he still has more than 10k of an army advantage against his opponent. And there's the GG that comes out. DrUncle takes the lead in this series. And now I'm just wondering, as we load back into this same mirror matchup on this map, are we going to see as many cool things this time around as we saw in that last game? I feel like it's going to go very differently. What are the chances that it ends up in the same way? And again, I'm so blown away by that saboteur timing, and then also this dam that I just had no idea that you could destroy to flood the map and just change the paths. I mean, this is sort of a 3 attack path map, but it can be turned into sort of a 2 attack path map, which, I don't know, it would be kind of cool if there was maybe a map that had a big water feature in the middle or something, and you could break the dam to actually drain the water and then open up that attack path. A bit like Destructible Rocks or something. But anyways, it's DrUncle and FrostyFire with the reverse from that stealth mirror that we just got to watch. which I was kind of down on it initially, but it turned into such a crazy game back and forth, and I thought for sure FrostyFire was going to be the one able to win. Man, those timings on these technicals have just been so slim sometimes. It's incredible, like, that someone manages to run over a worker just as the worker finishes up the tunnel properly. And so then the worker dies, but the tunnel still spawns in. So everything sort of ends up happening, but it doesn't happen the way the attacking player wished it would. Technical come in. Terrorists on top of that arms dealer, and no, they don't get the kill. So at least one of the terrorists got gunned down there by the rebel or the tunnel network or something, and ended up not being able to detonate on top of that arms dealer. So the War Factory does still stand there for FrostyFire, who has now turned his attention to the north. He is going to be able to break down this barracks, but the War Factory is on the other side. So breaking down the barracks isn't the end of the world. RPG troopers should make short work of these quad cannons. Otherwise, it's 2 quads versus 3, and DrUncle would win that fight. Now even more reinforcements coming in from DrUncle. He should be able to push back FrostyFire here and force those forces away. Meanwhile, the worker, I think, will barely finish up this tunnel network, and the RPG trooper is kind of going to reveal themselves right as the tunnel finishes up. Everybody shows up out of it, and DrUncle is just going to say, I'm actually getting out of here. I got my 2 points in this series, and I am going to abandon this position. And hey, last time FrostyFire taking over his opponent's main base did not end up benefiting him later in the game. He ended up losing out that game. The war of attrition went to DrUncle, and this attack has been pushed back as well. Scrap gonna get picked up there by that quad, and might even get the last quad as well. Whoa! Okay, GG gets called, and DrUncle taps out FrostyFire in under 4 minutes, evens out the score. Well, that was a much more effective attack than I thought. Those 2 games couldn't have been more different. And Game 5 takes us to Black Hell, created by Tenzo. And, well, it is going to be the momentum maker in this series. The score is all tied up 2-2, and it is not quite a China mirror, because in the north it's the China infantry. This is FrostyFire, and in the south playing the China tank. Who's better, tanks or infantry? This is DrUncle. That is a sort of tank building a house for infantry. The dozer builds the barracks, and it's straight into the airfield for DrUncle, which and it's straight into the War Factory for FrostyFire, which the last time I saw this map, it was a China infantry in the north, and they did go for a very fast airfield. So not quite the same as that. This is a little bit of reverse. Looks like it's going to be straight into a helix for DrUncle. What a disappointment that second Thermopoly game was. After the incredible match of the first one, all of the twists and turns and turnarounds, the hijackers, the saboteurs, Jarman Kell with the snipes, the scud storms all over the place, and then the next game is 4 minutes done and dusted. And that is Command & Conquer for you. We can have these like incredibly dramatic, long, drawn-out games that have all of these unusual strategy game features and mechanics that most other games wouldn't have. And then the next one's like 2 minutes long, and it's just a slam dunk. Couple of dragon tanks moving out for these China players, and this one's going to be easy to kill. That helix doesn't actually stop to kill it, so the dragon tank will continue on, and I guess he wants to keep his own dragon tank safe, at least for now. Minigunners, though, do make this a difficult proposition for the player playing air. That Helix goes down. The minigunners also go down, but I think I'd rather kill off a Helix than kill off some minigunners. And the listening outpost for FrostyFire Truck gets to the south side of the map, sets up on top of this supply center, and, well, that's going to be one dead supply for DrUncle. On top of the airfield as well. Can he just camp this airfield and kill the airfield as well? Minigunners gonna try and gun down that dragon tank. Another listening outpost does show up, and okay, yeah, DrUncle taps out. FrostyFire Truck, 2 quick wins in a row. DrUncle has that very long, drawn-out victory on Thermopoly, and then in like 10 minutes, FrostyFire Truck just buries him across 2 games. And of course, we're staying on the Black Hell map for one more game. We've got these particle cannon details kind of spread throughout the map. I don't know how to operate the camera. There we go. Finally, we get to see it over there. There's a couple more way down there with the lava. All the cool little details on these maps. I always appreciate when map makers put them in. And when it's something like StarCraft 2, they have so many more tools and so much better technology to work with. So seeing players get to develop maps that look as good as they do for an engine and for map making tools that are like 20 years old is always cool. So the fact that Zero Hour map makers, they put in all of those little details like you would see in more modern RTS games, they still add them in to their games. And they even do funny little things like black holes or black hells in the middle of the map. And I don't know what that was. Something just got canceled there by DrUncle. DrUncle now down in this series. Such a fight to gain the advantage, and then loses it basically in much less time than he actually gained. Okay, so this time, instead of dragon tanks passing each other, it's going to be a dragon tank and a listening outpost running into each other, and the listening outpost tries to back up, but he does not manage to get back in time. The dragon tank going to go on the high ground for DrUncle. Meanwhile, FrostyFire Truck, he is trying to stop the dragon tanks of DrUncle. He's got a couple of his own. He's got a couple of tank hunters as well going around the map. And eventually this listening outpost will get the kill. And there we go. You don't want to get caught on the front of a dragon tank. You want to approach a dragon from behind where they're less likely to light you on fire. Airfield now coming up for FrostyFire Truck. And it looks like the bunker will be able to stop this dragon tank, but some damage done to those oil derricks. Couple of one supply truck going down. The other supply truck is still working. FrostyFire Truck has managed to hold back the burning tide for now, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be able to keep holding it back. Couple of listening outposts out on the map for DrUncle. And, he is trying to take this expansion on the high ground over here on the right side of the map. Won't have an easy time doing it, but now that that dragon tank is dead, he might be able to actually finish up the expansion. Listening outposts moving forward. That's going to be a dead dragon boy. The dragon did manage to catch one of the listening outposts, but not the other one. Oh, that's cute. Hiding on the other side of the oil derrick, waiting for reinforcements as the MiG actually catches that listening outpost and takes it down below half health. Meanwhile, FrostyFire Truck bringing more and more forces to the front line. One dragon tank down. But on the south side, this firewall may be burning in the north. In the south, it's going to be double listening outpost on top of that war factory. They've got to run from this dragon tank, though. They've got the war factory down below half HP, but this dragon tank might just burn both of them to the ground. They manage to get the kill, and they'll get the dragon tank on top of that. These two listening outposts putting out huge damage now for DrUncle. Airfield shut down. War Factory shut down. Supply might be eliminated as well. This one tank hunter is getting as much damage done as he can in return, but that is 3 tank hunters inside of these listening outposts, and they are just pushing forward. War Factory rebuilt on the low ground. Battle Masters out onto the map. And the listening outposts, I mean, with the tank hunters inside, they trade fairly well versus Battle Masters. And they're still in range of these supply trucks as well. DrUncle looking to even up the score here in game number 6. He wants to make this a 3-3, which gets us incredibly close to a best of 11 ace match. When 6 games have gone that close together between these two players, it gives us an incredible shot at going the distance in this series. Both of these players bringing their A game. Maybe not in that last one, but in that first Thermopoly game, and perhaps now in this one as well. As FrostyFire Truck, he has got a lot of flames to deal with, and they won't be able to. The GG comes out, and FrostyFire Truck taps out the incredible non-stop pressure from DrUncle on the left, on the right, down the middle, blocking every attack of FrostyFire Truck and sending his own attacks from every angle that he can, wins DrUncle game number 6. And that will take us to the map Bluehole for game number 7. Another sort of momentum breaker here for these players. In the north, it's the GLA demo. This is DrUncle. Meanwhile, in the south, the USA Super. It's been a little while since we got to see some USA action with China and GLA featuring in the last 4 games. This is FrostyFire Truck. He is going to need to bring things... Well, maybe not. Maybe he won't need to bring things in a significant way. He's playing USA. He might just be looking for the Rock V powerhouse move. Dozer moving out across the map against a GLA demo player. Can be very dangerous to send those dozers out. In this case, he will be setting up an EMP Patriot there in the north center of the map. Close enough to the middle of the map. And once again, this is one of those maps that just has quite a few garrisonable neutral tech structures that can be taken by either side. So many. And in this case, EMP in a building with an RPG trooper in it isn't really anything to worry about. This dozer could be targeted. I feel like that might actually be the better way to go. But also, double barracks as the opening for FrostyFire Truck. Technical, not going to get the kill on the Ranger before the capture comes down. Will have his own RPG troopers to deploy into the bunker. So the bunker has now been taken over by DrUncle, and the worker will eventually be killed off by these missile defenders, I assume. Okay, they are going to take the building. The Ranger will get the lock on that worker. So goodbye to the oil derrick. Goodbye to the worker as well. EMP Patriot does still stand, but the dozer does not. 1 dozer left for FrostyFire Truck. We'll see if that ends up being a problem for him, because lots of games do go, you know, a good 10 minutes with neither player losing a dozer. So it is very possible. He's going to drive that dozer into range. Okay, well, what you see is what you get. This is an incredible... Well, I don't know. It's going to be something. If DrUncle does not manage to win this game, then that dozer being denied the ability to build that supply center, and the USA player winning with just a handful of Rock Vs and like 1 base economy will be rage-inducing for so many. This is going to be like a rage bait game for so many viewers. If DrUncle loses this after he sniped both of the dozers, and this is a 1 supply USA player, How many oil derricks does he have? 1 oil derrick, 2 oil derricks. Yeah, I think just 2 oil derricks. So, oh boy, yeah. DrUncle, who's currently up like double the income of his opponent. Okay, there's terrorists gonna be able to knock down the war factory. They get the power plant as well. This guy's in low power mode here. If these Rock Vs manage to win the game from this point, the comments are going to be toxic. They are going to be non-stop USA haters, which, like, I get that Rock Vs are not the best unit comp to watch in a competitive game, but of course we will see the random reverse after this. So this is a heck of a game for FrostyFire to be able to win if he manages to win this from this position, and then he has to play the other side of it where he doesn't get Rock Vs. That will be incredible, but I think DrUncle is going to win this, and then he will be the one who gets to have the Rock Vs. So the Rock Vs are going to be able to knock down this war factory. Whatever gets produced out of here will be the last thing built by that war factory. And Rock Vs are incredibly powerful. We all have seen it in the past. I can't believe how much work they are actually getting done. This is a lot of missile defenders in the south as well. DrUncle is just not dealing with this attack, and instead he's trying to spread himself out over the map. These Rock Vs are ranking up as well. They may not have any, tow missiles or any reinforcements coming out, but they are going to become more and more valuable as the game goes on. Terrorists getting shot down, and with that ammo, these Humvees are actually staying reasonably healthy, and as long as they don't go into that heavy damage mode, they can evade most targets for the time being. They're going to walk into basically 2 tunnel networks. Maybe 1 Humvee will fall at this point. RPG's not able to get enough damage out onto these Rock Vs, and oh my gosh, no, he's going to load up into the Chinooks as well. FrostyFire says, I don't need dozers, I don't need a war factory. I've got Chinooks, I've got a barracks. As another Humvee gets very close to death, these RPG troopers desperately want to close in. The ambo goes down, and he's going to try and clean out these buildings so that he can take over this section of the map. Like, that's such a cool function of a supply vehicle, of a harvester type vehicle. I mean, come on, just no other game has this sort of stuff. Even the modern RTSs that are, like spiritual successors to Zero just don't have this kind of stuff. Such an incredible set of mechanics to try and make a situation like this, or even like switch into flashbangs and stuff, trying to make something like this actually turn into a real game. When FrostyFire is down 10k per minute, DrUncle has 14 grand per minute, 16k sitting in the bank for a moment there. He was at 15.9k in the bank. There's only one of the initial 4 Humvees plus the ambulance that was here a minute ago, and there's going to be the GG coming out there. An incredible effort from FrostyFire Truck, and we will head into the random reverse. And now we get to see if the reverse is possible, because DrUncle now has control of the Rock Vs. Will he be as cavalier with his dozers against the Demo General? Also going for the double barracks opener. FrostyFire Truck is going to be feeling a little bit frustrated perhaps after that game, but you gotta hand it to DrUncle. The snipe of both dozers was very key, and both players have, at least to some degree, agreed to play this matchup on this map, so they are both here for it. USA Super Weapons General keeping that command center around for a little while, at least for the current moment. It may still be sold off in a minute or two. And FrostyFire Truck looking to take control of this southeast corner of the map. We'll see if he's able to maintain that for a while. It's a very dangerous tower to have positioned here, but there is an EMP Patriot nearby, so maybe it can stop anyone from breaking that tower down and crashing it onto the oil derrick. Meanwhile, the dozer is going to back up for the current moment. Much more defensive posturing from DrUncle. EMP Patriot over here on the right side. He's got the building. EMP Patriot over here on the left side, taking a lot of these bunkers and these civilian structures that are near his base so that he's got eyes and guns waiting for whatever Frosty fire truck throws his way. Demo GLA can be very tricky. As we saw, the terrorists can be incredibly effective. And one of them closes the distance, the other one does not. So the EMP Patriot is going to survive for the current moment, and the civilian structure has been taken by DrUncle, who is hoping to add a little bit more to his score. He does shut down that technical in just the right spot, but it does mean more than 2 terrorists will manage to make their way to the front line. One will get sniped, so neither one of these barracks will end up going down. Can he split the difference? No, he won't. Everyone dies. So he loses the EMP Patriot on the front line, but everything else does manage to survive. Technical doesn't get the crush, but the terrorist will manage to get the explosion, and here's the second wave of the attack. This is the real attack. As the War Factory is out, it is now triple supply here for DrUncle, and he manages to shut down that attack. Frosty fire truck, we've seen this before. He's going to take over the entire map, it seems. But on Thermopoly, that worked out just fine for DrUncle, and that would put him up 5 games to 3, and in a very comfortable position to win this whole series, heading into a potential game number 9 there. Or I guess we are definitely guaranteed a game number 9 at this point, but it's just, are we on match point, or is the score evened back up? Because either one could lead to some epic games here, as the terrorists will be shot up. One manages to make it to the Patriot, but the Patriot does survive for the current moment. And more terrorist attacks. The barracks will end up getting knocked down, and it will be replaced almost as quickly. And then a strategy center as well coming in here for DrUncle. So he's going to be opening up those late game choices, getting himself, I assume, search and destroy. I assume USA players still go for search and destroy for the additional range for their Humvees. The Rock V's better kiting ability of search and destroy. That is what it's called, right? I don't know. It's been so long since I looked into any of these things, but search and destroy, I used to think it's all about more damage, but the ability to kite is worth so much more if you are a good player. Another technical manages to make it through. That's going to be a dead dozer. Yep, dead dozer there, but with the command center here, it doesn't really matter. There are still 2 dozers out on the map, and the strategy center has been spotted, but it will not be shut down just yet. One building does get taken over there by DrUncle, and Frosty fire truck manages to take more and more of the map under his control. DrUncle is now finally going to try and curb that expansion, stop the manifest destiny from manifesting for Frosty fire truck. One terrorist does make it to the command center, and there we go. Search and destroy has finally been initiated. So yes, that is indeed still the most, or I would assume, the most common, most popular choice. If you've got good unit control, the additional range is worth so much more than additional armor or additional attack power. Either one is good, but range is worth so much more in kiting situations. Well, maybe not if all of the Rock V's end up going down. One does get eliminated there, but the rest of them will be able to kite away. And, well, this is a lot of technicals, but Rock V's are incredibly powerful, as we saw in that last game. And now Frosty fire truck is going to have to contend with them himself. He will be able to knock down one of the technicals, or one of the Humvees, that is. And it looks like everything else gets eliminated. Ambo kind of heads a little bit too far forward, but these missile defenders next to this building just having free range to eat up these technicals. One after another, they end up getting chomped down by those missile defenders. DrUncle adding a fire base to the high ground as well. He doesn't care about controlling the map, but he wants total control of his section of the map. He has not gone for the oil refinery there. He has gone for the high ground. He has taken some of these other structures, and he is also going for a particle cannon as well. A little bit of a glitch there with the recording software, but ooh, this is a lot of... An Aurora Bomb comes in as well, but this is a lot of Rock Vs. This is a huge clump of Rock Vs, so as long as they can avoid heavy burst damage from the GLA, because, I mean, ultimately, Humvees don't have a lot of health or armor, but they do have a good range and maneuverability, so as long as they can avoid being bursted down, being eliminated by a bunch of splash damage, then this is an incredibly powerful force. Terrorist's going to try and close the distance. One gets in, and that's 3 dead Humvees. That's what I'm talking about. As the particle cannon comes online, 2 more Humvees go down. And in just a few seconds, 5 Humvees get eliminated just like that. That is the downside to something like a Rock V, a heavy Humvee-based composition. And onto the high ground goes that Spectre gunship. That's going to be a dead oil derrick, and I don't know that he's going to be able to reach any other targets. Quads are going to try and push away these Humvees. Missile defenders will jump into the building. At least one of them will manage to jump into the building before the quads show up to kill everything else. And it is low power mode for DrUncle, so his particle cannon is stopped right there at 4 minutes on spawn. And, well, missile defender is dead. Garage is safe for now. And Chinooks moving out. Are they just long distance mining? Okay, yes, they are just long distance mining. They aren't loaded up with infantry to clear out buildings or anything like that. No trying to cross the map and make some kind of incredible play. This is a double tunnel network, so anything could pop out of here to quickly burst down these Humvees. But for the current moment, Humvee's going to split their damage across both of the tunnel networks to try and shut them down that much more quickly. But on the other side, that wasn't even a rebel surprise. That was just a couple of terrorists getting deep into enemy base, and that is going to be some dead buildings. The Civ structure does get taken over here by DrUncle, and the Auroras trying to get off the deck as they were making a pass somewhere on the map. Quad cannons should be able to lock down this front line. I guess maybe the Humvees can farm the quad cannons indefinitely at range, but a couple of Humvees do get taken down right at the edge there. Another Aurora off the deck, looking to clean up those quads. Fuel air bomb cleans them out, and that is Jarman Kell moving in as well. Strategy center did end up being sold off or go down, and that's a demo rebel surprise on top of the hill, on top of the Humvees, and FrostyFire Truck cares not for your Humvees. Those Rock Vs get eliminated, and this a lot of dead quads as well. Still, DrUncle in low power mode behind all of this, so he's got 14 grand in the bank, but he just doesn't have the power to actually operate at full capacity. He is now back online. He is no longer in that low power mode, but that's going to be actually the GG coming out, and DrUncle will fall to the GLA firepower of FrostyFire Truck, and that evens us up 4 games apiece after 8 rounds. We are in an even game state. Call an ambulance, but not for me. Oh my gosh, there's just someone on the ground there, and someone else along the back side of this building here on Blossoming Valley for game number 9 of this best of 11. In the south, it's the Vanilla USA. This is DrUncle. Meanwhile, in the north, and we'll see what this Vanilla China has planned for us, but it's in a fast airfield as well. This is FrostyFire Truck. Well, let's see. Was this actually... Okay, no, it's a war factory and a barracks. It's not a fast airfield on the south side of the map. War factory and a barracks. Anytime Now that I see a little bit of blue at the edge of the map, I immediately went like, wait, is this another map with a dam? And it's called Blossoming Valley. So maybe the blossoming is you can flood the valley of the map and then, you know, make it really blossom. But this is a north-south split map, just like Tournament Desert of old. But we do have a bit of a different distribution of everything, so hopefully, again, it doesn't turn into just an endless barrage, an endless war of attrition. As we have a GAT and an Assault Troop Crawler both out, there's the Helix making its way across the map as well. And DrUncle has just corralled himself over to these two supplies on the left side. He's like, I am not worried about defending a big, wide area. I am going to consolidate over here to this left side. I'm going to get out my Rock Vs. I'm going to get out my missile defenders. And he's going to laser lock down this Helix. Helix manages to get two of the missile defenders, doesn't quite get the third. GAT does show up as well, so that's going to be one dead Humvee. And this is also a Assault Troop Crawler with a bunch of Red Guard just rushing down these Humvees. They do have tow missiles added in. There's going to be a sentry drone added in as well. And this GAT, he may be spawning, or he may be walking into the wrong spot, but no, it's the Humvee who's spawned in the wrong spot, because that's a dead V. FrostyFire truck, he is bringing the pain from Vanilla China. He barely doesn't get the kill on that Humvee, and the laser lock shuts down the other GAT. This is just an all-out attack, basically from minute one from FrostyFire truck, but at the end of it, I don't know, he hasn't gained a big advantage. I guess he's not dead either. But he's certainly sending a lot of army across the map, which means when these Rock V numbers get built up to be a decent count, they are going to be very difficult to stop. No ambulance next yet to go along with these Humvees, so without the heal of an ambo, they do have to be a little bit careful. I guess one of them does have the repair drone with it. Red Guard gonna buy a little bit of time. This GAT gonna force these Humvees back just a bit. FrostyFire truck, he has taken a good chunk of the map. He does have a bit of an income advantage at the current moment. Meanwhile, I think we're just, I think DrUncle's plan is just build up enough Humvees, and I assume he has an ambo coming soon. And he's got this firebase over here, which he's actually has garrisoned with a missile defender as well. So he's got additional firepower. And the dozer is kind of blocking the way as well. We'll see if this dozer ends up going down. For the current moment, blocking off that GAT. That might have been an intentional body block, too, just to stop the GAT from getting any kind of kill. And Humvees pushing forward. Okay, finally they do have an ambulance with them. So this is 6 Humvees plus an ambo. Going to be able to shut down the front line of FrostyFire truck. And this series has been so incredibly close, going just back and forth, back and forth. MiG shows up, will get tagged. That's a lot of missiles. That's a dead MiG, as these Rock Vs have knocked down FrostyFire truck's front line. They have kept him from building anything significant, and it's going to be one random GAT getting into the economic line of DrUncle. He will eventually get hunted by these Humvees. It looks like he shot down one Chinook, and then the other Chinook hid off in the corner. That's a dead Helix, and this just might be a dead China player. GG gets called. DrUncle wins with the Rock Vs, but can he defend against them? Do you have dance moves like the lady in the middle of Blossoming Valley? I hope you do. I hope you're ready to dance. I hope you're ready to party with, of course, DrUncle, who has managed to get a win with some Rock Vs. So then will FrostyFire truck just do the exact same thing? Pulling over to the left side of the map seems like such a smart move when you are a USA player, when you've got access to those incredibly powerful Rock Vs. You tighten up your defense, you give yourself a smaller area to defend, and you just make it that much of a harder nut to crack compared to you're the guy with Rock Vs, so you can go anywhere on the map. Airfield is now up. halfway done, I should say, and the expansion coming up. So it is going to be 3 supply versus 2 supply, but when you're playing a whole load of Rock Vs, it doesn't always matter how much supply you've really got. You need a minimal amount of income to make this comp worth it and to make it work. We'll see how the unit control is. Just because DrUncle was able to make it work quite easily, it seemed, doesn't mean FrostyFire Truck will. But it looks like he's going to get an early dozer catch, and this is going to be a dead dozer with a Gat cannon, about 90% complete. We'll see how close he gets. 91! So incredibly close, and now those supply trucks are going to have to run for the hills. And now the second dozer is getting tagged, and that's going to be tow missiles added on as well. That's 2 dead dozers. Dunzo! This China player is going to have to cancel anything that was under construction, and there are no more buildings for China for the rest of the game. DrUncle has to make it work. What you see is what you get, which is still pretty good. Would like to have a few more things. A barracks might be nice. A propaganda center could be cool. A second war factory or airfield or any other production facility would be neat as well. But this is what you've got. 1 GAT at a time, 1 Helix at a time, or 1 MiG at a time, whatever you want, but it's going to be 1 at a time. No more expansions and no capturing of buildings ever. Dozer is over here on the right side, but these 3 Humvees are going to make short work of that GAT. Good night to the Gatling tank there, and the ambo is out, or as the real pros like to call it, the medical Humvee, because that's a Humvee with a little medical sign on it. That's what the real pros call it after all. Assault troop crawler going to be moving out, or just a troop transport, I guess, on the front line. Gonna drop off a bunch of Red Guard. You can get infantry. I guess you can never get the upgrades for them, but you can get Red Guard. And I guess listening outposts give you tank hunters, so that's, you know, that's like half of the China infantry available from the war factory with those 2 units. Humvee's gonna try and get jumped on. If the Helixes can kill off the Humvees, then the rest of this army can follow up. That's 2 dead Humvees, and these Helixes loaded up with their Gat cannons do massive damage to these Humvees. 1 dead Helix, maybe not, as DrUncle just brings the pain. He does end up losing at least 1 Helix there, and some of these positions are going to be a little bit tougher to break. This is 2 Helixes that are extremely low on health. Oh, so incredibly low on health. That's almost worth suiciding a couple of units to try and get those kills. Driving a Humvee to the other side of the map just to hunt those 2 Helixes down before they get back for repairs. And they are both going to land. They will both be repaired. So nicely done there for DrUncle. He is keeping his hopes alive, and he is putting all of his cash, every dollar that he's got, into units and sending them across the map to attack. Helix manages to find another Humvee, and DrUncle just might have found the winning combination. Turns out you don't need dozers. You do need something to deal with the Rock Vs, though, and there's now 3 Rock Vs on top of these Red Guard, and they don't have a Helix providing Overwatch. I don't know where those Humvees came from. They came from over there, as there's now 4 Humvees out on the map. If they can jump on the Helixes, then it's easy for them to clean up everything else. But those Helixes in that first fight managed to get the drop on those Rock Vs and clean them up. Okay, 3, 4, 5 more Helixes out onto the map. And our RPG troopers, missile defenders step out, laser lock down 1 of the Helixes. 2 of the Helixes are down, and a 3rd one taking a ton of damage. The Rock V staying out of range, and the missile defender gonna get a couple more lucky shots off as well. Troop crawler moves forward. Red Guard already out on the front line, and once again the Helixes are gonna have to run for the hills. DrUncle keeping himself in this game, and not only keeping himself in this game, keeping himself competitive and an absolute threat on the front line for FrostyFire Truck to deal with. He may have Rockvies, and he is getting an impressive number of them, a scary number of them as well. But that does not mean that he automatically will win this game. Firebase will get shut down. These Gats, 0%, get the kill. There we go. That is a done and dusted Firebase. You tried to build it when your dozer was a little bit too far away, and you will pay the price for it. The Helix is very slow to reinforce, and they will eventually get across the map. The Gats once again going to chase away these Chinooks. One of them does end up going down, and this is 4 more Humvees that manage to curtail this entire division of Red Guard here on the right side. Those aren't minigunners. They don't manage to do much against Humvees. And rebuilding Chinooks is the easiest thing for the USA player to worry about. Meanwhile, another Gat gets chased down, and things are still possible for DrUncle, but it is looking less and less likely as the game goes on, as there are more Humvees. I mean, he could absolutely just drive these Humvees into the wrong area and lose everything in one fell swoop. That can definitely still happen for a FrostyFire Truck, but he's been pretty good about his unit control overall. Helixes are going to be able to jump on some of these Humvees, but there's just so many. The fire rains up, and this is the end of the Air Force for DrUncle. Good night to the China air superiority, and hello to American armor. Who cares who owns the air? Overwatch doesn't matter if the ground you're watching over is lit up with the fire of Rockvies, and they are pushing on forward, hunting down this Gat. They're getting caught up on each other, so instead of killing that Gat extremely quickly, they killed it very slowly, one at a time. And the same thing happening over here. These Rockvies could end this Gat incredibly quickly, but instead they're getting caught up on each other, and they will eventually kill off that Gat tank. Power plant does go down. DrUncle will be in a permanent low power mode, and that is it. FrostyFire Truck evens up the score and sends us to the ace match. And here we go on to map number 11. Welcome to Tiny Tactics for the decider game of this series. On the left side, playing the orange China Vanilla, this is FrostyFire Truck, selling off that command center. And on the right side, going for the China Vanilla as well, this is DrUncle. And when I said that the maps are, or the format is random reverse here in 0 Hour, well, you may wonder what happens in the last game of a series like this, because we played random reverse where player 1 gets to choose the map first, and then player 2 gets to choose the map for games 3 and 4, and then they swap back and forth. So what happens when you get to a game 9 or a game 11? Well, those are actually preset before the event even begins. This is decided by the tournament organizers. It's like round 1, the final matchup is Toxin Mirror on this map. And it's always a mirror matchup. Every ace match of this tournament will be a mirror matchup. In this case, round 2 is China Mirror, as you can see on the map, Tiny Tactics. So that's how we ended up in this position. Our first ace match of the tournament, as far as I've seen. I don't know, there could have been 100 ace matches up to this point, and I would not have known it. But we've got an ace match here between FrostyFire Truck and DrUncle. Both of these guys putting on amazing games and showing us incredible play. And DrUncle, he went for a 3-dozer opener, and he is putting it to good use. DrUncle gets a proxy war factory in the north. Helix moving across the high ground, listening outpost here as well. And let's see. FrostyFire truck, he does not see this. He is about to see it. He will see a dragon tank entering the vision right up there in the north. So I guess he knows that it's there now, but DrUncle may have just won himself this entire series with this proxy in the north. This is going to be 2 dead supply trucks. A red guard as well will get burned down. And can FrostyFire truck manage to pull something back from this point? Helix is going to move over, so this will be an easy shutdown of the remainder of these tanks. How much more damage can they get done? 1 dragon tank gone. The Gat tank reinforcements will not be able to do much of all, and that's going to be a barely surviving war factory, down to about 25 HP. Everything else gets spotted, gets shut down, and DrUncle has thrown this early game into complete disarray. Another Helix gets sniped. The dragon tank, the return fire from FrostyFire truck, he will put out those Gats and he will knock them down. But now it's Gat versus Dragon, double war factory in the north versus a single war factory plus an airfield here. Second war factory over there for FrostyFire truck. What a way for DrUncle to throw game number 11 into complete chaos almost from minute 1. Battlemaster steps out onto the map, and the goal is protect the war factory. It's not quite protect the president, but it's pretty darn close. Firewall comes down. Another dragon tank trying to sneak through the armor there on the left side, but in the south it's going to be a listening outpost able to knock down both of those supply trucks. DrUncle is not going to give up, and he's also not just attacking through one venue. He is breaking this fight up into as many pieces as he can. FrostyFire truck manages to get out another Helix, a couple of more rockets inside of it. Gat will try to push away that Helix, and the dragon tank of FrostyFire truck gets on top of the war factory, but there's a Battlemaster already here. He starts up the firewall, but he gets shut down. The dozer will go down. The war factory will go down. FrostyFire truck loses both, but he's still alive. He's still burning hot here on the front line. Listening outposts from both players going to be shutting each other down. They sort of get a kill. It's mutually assured destruction in that case, but a dragon tank from DrUncle has made it through the defenses. The barracks is in range, taking a little bit of damage, but the Helix will get the shutdown. One supply truck down, the other one manages to escape. DrUncle is forced to sell off both of the war factories, and the game will calm down. Another supply truck will be cleaned up here, and now this supply center can also be killed off. Dozers in low count for both players. A single dozer, that's a mistake. That's just a donation. He didn't get a single load of supplies with that truck. It just got eliminated. Flame tank gets knocked down. The dragon will not breathe its fire, will not burn down FrostyFire, but it's up to the Gat to get the kill. The airfield goes down, and that is a tough pill to swallow for FrostyFire truck, but he does still have his dozer. He does still have 2 or 3 Helixes already out flying around the map. His own dragon tank in the north. Flamers can be incredibly flippy units. They can flip a game on its head in just a few seconds. DrUncle giving this game over to pure chaos, and the result is, I don't even know. FrostyFire truck is up 10k in total resources gathered. It feels like DrUncle has thrown a lot away, but he also has now more of a defensive position that he can take. That's the dead supply. This is 4-5 dragon tanks going to be making their way down onto the high ground. Okay, so DrUncle is done. He's played himself like a fiddle, and now he's about to lose his entire base to a counterattack of dragon tanks. If the dragons can deal with the Gats, nothing can stop the Helixes, which are coming in. There's the sell-off of the war factory. Counterattack Helix from DrUncle, as he's going to try and push this attack back. Most of the dragons have gone down, but FrostyFire truck has brought himself so much time and so much space. As it turns out, having the better economy, having the better income is a big win here in 0 hour. Everything gets burned down. DrUncle flips a coin at the start of the game, goes for the double proxy war factory, and it will be punished. He did massive damage until he took massive damage. And now a dragon tank gonna try and sneak along the southern edge of the map. DrUncle is not out of it yet. His tournament life on the line. FrostyFire truck looks like he will have the win, but it's not over yet. 10K per minute for FrostyFire truck, 2.3K per minute for DrUncle. All coming down to this. Helix will sit over top of that supply center. He's going to try and find the perfect spot where he can't take counter damage, and he will find just the angle. Building has been taken by FrostyFire truck, so there's a lot of dangerous spots on this map for DrUncle. Civilian structure gets burned down. Double Gat can defend this power plant. They may end up trading one of their lives against this double vet flame tank. Goes to the other side of the power plant. Back on the left side, it's going to be a Helix hunting down these supply trucks. I guess that's one way to try and even things up. DrUncle does have his defense on lock for the current moment, but it just sort of feels like it should be a war of attrition that he simply cannot win. This is going to be a dead dozer. No, he goes for the supply center instead. And the carpet bomb on top of the war factory. He cleans up both. No more production for DrUncle. And an EMP or a cluster mine on top of this. It's a cluster mine on top of the command center. I don't actually know what that means in terms of, it looks like the command center will just finish absolutely fine. FrostyFire truck, on the other hand, is just slowly building up his army. He actually isn't massively outstripping the army of DrUncle. They're relatively close. Given the income disparity, you would expect it would be quite a bit different. The dozer survived. Man, if he would have seen that dozer building the command center and been able to snipe the dozer right there and snipe the war factory, that would have been just the end of everything. But now the one clicks are back out on the field. Both players, because of the chaotic opening, got up to 4-star general before the 10-minute mark. And these supply trucks just are not safe. This one Helix has been doing absolutely massive damage, and now the carpet bomb is actually going to survive all the way from the front line into the back, dropping half the payload, but it's not enough to kill anything off. Another Helix emerges. If that carpet bomb would have gotten one more bomb off, he would have eliminated that airfield. Okay, maybe not one more bomb, maybe 2 or 3 more bombs, but he could have eliminated that airfield and stopped one more Helix from emerging into this game. The Gats have so many Helixes to worry about. Every moment that goes by is better for DrUncle, because 1 minute ago he had 0 production and barely even a command center. If he has any chance of trying to turn this game around, being able to catch the throw from FrostyFire truck, then it's going to have to be, you know, actually having units and having production structures. War Factory gets completed and immediately down to half HP. FrostyFire truck has 0 dozers out on the map. He does have a command center, though. Okay, so it does not matter. I guess, of course, he has a command center. He was calling in support powers, so he definitely does have a command center. And FrostyFire truck has been in control. He's up 30K total resources gathered. He's been in control for the last 3 or 4 minutes for sure. And FrostyFire truck, he dealt with the proxy war factory opening, but DrUncle is not giving up. Carpet bomb coming in. There's going to be the forced sell-off of that supply center and the sell-off of the war factory as well. DrUncle is trying to consolidate as much as he can. I cannot believe he's still in this game. He is just not giving up, and with his tournament life on the line, you can see why. If he finishes here in round 2, he is completely cut off from all of the significant prizes of the $27,000 grand prize pool of the World Series, which I don't remember how much first place gets, but first place definitely gets a big chunk of change there. And the total prize pool being absolutely massive is just really an incredible testament to the 0 Hour community. Gats moving in on the north side. FrostyFire Truck just needs to not have a generational throw to hold this game. A once-in-a-lifetime incredible throw for FrostyFire Truck to lose this game. Carpet Bomb on top of the army in the middle. Cleans up the supply center, cleans up the supply trucks as well, but the dozer does manage to dodge for the current moment. Flame Wall goes up, pushes everything back. FrostyFire Truck, he could just be throwing units at DrUncle, just trying to break him with pure bad A-moving tactics, but he's not. He is holding himself back. He is restricting himself a little bit to not just throw the game away, because that is sort of the only way FrostyFire Truck gives this game away, is if he just completely throws it in an incredible way. Supply center rebuilt. Dragon tanks getting caught. Cluster mine on top of the Gats. Battlemaster will go down. If he moves in any direction, he will explode. And that's not a good place for a Battlemaster to be. But we all find ourselves in a minefield at some point in our lives. Just for most of us, it's not a literal minefield like it is for that guy. Oh, somebody else drove over some mines as well. That's a stop command. That's a dead Battlemaster. The noose is tightening. The net is closing in, and I guess this is going to be a dead dozer, but what does that matter at this point? Triple Dragon Tank on top of the command center, on top of the War Factory as well. GG gets cold. FrostyFire Truck takes the win in game number 11, and DrUncle gets knocked out of the 2025 Zero Hour World Series. Thank you so much to the players for participating, for the organizers for putting this together, for MP3 and for CNCHD uploading the replays onto gamereplays.org so I can download them from there. ExiLe for the interface look. Doublevil for the BattleScry overlay, Drive for the design as well. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.